Hi, there I am. Welcome to Something to Talk About. And yeah, here I am talking about A Song of Ice and Fire. Let's talk about Satin. So for those of you who misread the title and you thought I was here to talk about Satan, I am sorry. I mean, we could talk about Satan, but he's not really a Song of Ice and Fire character, is he? So, No, we're not here to talk about Satan. We're here to talk about Satin, the mysterious Night Watch recruit. If you've never been here before, my name is Taco. Click like, subscribe. If you enjoy this, subscribe. Don't just subscribe because my name is Taco. Get your priorities straight. And if you want to see more Song of Ice and Fire lore vids, I have all kinds. And also, if you want to see some Star Wars lore vids, I got some of that. If you want to see some really weird stuff, just look at the channel. I got some goofy stuff. So, let's not go any further without going. Let's just go further. Let's not talk. Let's just move on. That's what I meant. I do all these in one long take. So if I say and stumble a lot, it's because I don't edit. Everybody else edits out their mistakes. That's what makes me me, is all of my mistakes. So let's talk about Satin. Not Satan. The Night's Watch. I usually start these with talking about their houses, but Satin doesn't have a house. So we're just going to talk about the only sigil we can get for him, which is the Black Shield. Satin is a recruit of the Night Watch, and the Night's Watch is a military order dedicated to holding up the wall, immense fortification, northern border of the Seven Kingdoms, defending the realms of men from what lie beyond the wall, mostly snarks and grumpkins. The order's foundation dates to the Age of Heroes and the time when the others were pushed back. Maybe. Sure, who knows? It was a really long time ago. We don't know how it was founded. We're just going to pretend it was to fight the others, but you don't really know, do you? The men of the Night's Watch wear only black, and they are called the Black Brothers. Recruits who join are said they take the black. Yeah, that's it. They like to wear black. Some people call them crows, but other people just call them night watchmen. So let's talk about Satin, the recruit. Let's try that again. There we go. Satin the recruit. Satin claims to be 18 years old. He is attractive and has dark eyes, soft skin, a sweet voice, black hair, and curly ringlets. Yeah, he's a hottie, guys. We're talking about the cutest Night Watch recruit, Satin. He's an attractive guy. His archery skill is judged passable by Donald Noy. He's fine. Jon Snow cites that Satin is quick to learn, clever, fearless in a fight, and can partially read and write. Ooh. He is a follower of the Faith of the Seven. That comes up later. Satin received his name while working as a sex worker at a brothel in Old Town, where he is said to be born and raised. Okay, what is this guy? He is a male sex worker who grew up in a brothel in Old Town and found his... We'll talk about how he found his way, but found his way to the Night Watch. So he's a little different, right? He's not a criminal or whatever. Well, he might be. We don't really know why. We'll get to that. But anyways, he's very different. He's not this gruff warrior type. He's a pretty boy. He's got nice hair and stuff. So right when he gets there is right before the attack on Castle Black. So the wandering crow named Conway. He's the wandering crow. He brings Satin and other recruits from the dungeon of Goldtown, dungeons near Goldtown to Castle Black. Satin helps defend the King's Tower at the Castle Black when the wildlings fighting along from the wildlings. I'm stuttering a lot. Let's try all that again. The wandering crow, blah, 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 brings Satin and other recruits from a dungeon near Goldtown, not Old Town, but Goldtown, to Castle Black. Satin helps defend the King's Tower at Castle Black from the wildlings fighting alongside Jon during the attack on Castle Black. He wets himself. Aw, that stinks. When the horns first blow, Satin proves to be an asset to defend the castle, firing crossbow quarrels and pouring oil on wildlings. Satin helps Jon set ablaze the stair at Castle Black, which kills several Thenns. Satin trains with Jon at the after the battle beneath the wall and congratulates Jon after he's named Lord Commander of the Night's Watch. So that's just stuff that Satin does. So what's up with this kid? He just gets there. Castle Black happens, and he seems useful, right? He helps Jon. So the Battle of Castle Black, of course, is when Mance Rayder and all of his, wildlings attack Castle Black. And it's like a lot of chapters in the books. Like it goes for a really long time. And it's one of my favorite episodes of the show because I like that it all takes place just at the wall. The Watchers of the Wall is the name of that episode. It's a really good one. So Satin helps during that. And he doesn't have too much after that. Let's get to one more. So Jon's Steward. Oh, wow. You got a promotion, huh? Sorry about the really short text, but I want to get it all done in one more. Satin grows a beard in which he combs perfume. Nice. He finishes his training and is appointed to be a steward. He goes with Jon to take his oath at a weirwood grove in the haunted forest, which is weird because Satin had previously admitted to following the faith of the Seven. That is weird. That is weird. When Dolorous Ed, hashtag one of the best characters, is sent to assist in the garrison of Longborough, Jon selects Satin to be one of his new stewards. This angers several members of the Watch hierarchy, such as Bowen Marsh, Septon Calidor, and Othel Yarwick, who feel that a former sex worker should not be the personal steward or squire of the commander. Jon argues that Satin is literate and fought well for the Watch at the Battle of Castle Black. So what's going on here? Jon is alienating himself more with the higher-ups at the wall, right? And, of course, we know where that ends. But this was just another decision that Jon made that pissed off Bowen Marsh and the other, big main recruits. He names this, the sex worker. And for some reason, there's a lot of prejudice of Satin's history. The fact that he used to just be, a prostitute at the brothel. You hear a lot of prejudice throughout the books, whenever Satin is brought up. Like the guys at the wall really hate him, which is so goofy because so many of the other recruits are murderers and rapists and stuff like that. And this dude was just because he was a sex worker. So it's weird that people who have done worse get just brought on and he gets treated really badly. And it's also weird because normally once you join the Watch, you're supposed to be treated like a brother no matter what. Of course, that never gets, follow through. They like to spit that garbage, but the fact that Jon's a bastard gets brought up constantly. And also the higher ups at the wall are always knights and people from actual noble houses. So that's just some spit that people spit. But all right. So I'm going to kind of just get through some of the events that he was there for. So after the wedding of Alyce Kaulstark to Sigorn, it's a big thing in the books. If you haven't read the books, you don't know what I'm talking about, but it's pretty great. Sir Melgorn of Redpool refuses to allow Satin to escort Selyse Florent to the wedding feast. Satin dances gracefully with 3 servant girls during the feast, but does not displease Patrick of King's Mountain by approaching any highborn ladies in Selyse Baratheon's party. So he just dances with servant girls, but doesn't go to any of the highborn ladies. I said Selyse Florent and then Selyse Baratheon in the same paragraph. Mark, you're doing great. Satin prepares Jon's horse when the commander goes north of the wall to go meet with Tormund. And just before the mutiny at Castle Black, the squire pours wine for Jon when he meets with his officers. So that is some of the stuff that that Satin is there for. And that's it. That's kind of the end. So right after that is when the pink letter happens, and then Jon gets some stabbings. We don't know if Satin was part of the stabbings. He's not mentioned by Jon. I'm assuming he's not, because he's one of the reasons why the higher-ups hate Jon. Well, you know, are displeased by Jon. I don't know if hate's a strong word. I mean, Bowen literally cries as he stabs Jon, but it's moves like making this guy his squire is what really the breaking of tradition, and not naming a highborn person as a squire, you know, stuff like that. Not squire. Sorry, Steward. But there's a lot of mysteries. And if you check on Satin all over forums and stuff, there's a lot of mystery around this character, and I'll get into why. So I got a couple more slides, and that's just talking about mysteries and theories. So Saturn Mysteries. Oh, cool. Lots of Satin theories and questions. Oh, thank you, Mark. First, a lot of people ship Satin and Jon. That's the first one I had to talk about. Some forums straight up think Jon is bi because he promotes Satin and because Satin's attractive. It's cute, but I don't see the evidence. We get Jon's POV a lot, and I would assume that that if he had feelings for Satin, you know, he would think them. If you get what I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying I would have no issue if Jon was bi, but we get his POV a lot. We know who he finds attractive. We know that he's got a thing for the Val, the warrior, or the wildling princess. We know that he's like, "Ooh, Melisandre, what's up?" But he never goes, "Oh, Satin, what's up?" You know, like, that's not a thing. He's not, maybe, you know, Jon keeps things deep down, so maybe he would even hide it from his own POV. Maybe. I wouldn't get mad if the next book he's like, "Hey, Satin, I got one more job for you," and like the bump down before you leave. I wouldn't get too angry with it, but I just don't see it as of now. I think that people are just reading into the fact that he gave him a promotion and that Satin is attractive. But yeah, I don't fully buy it. I wouldn't be mad though. Satin claims to be from Old Town, where he was raised as a prostitute. Presumably, he left at some point and went to the Vale to get captured for a reason we don't know yet. And he ended up in a, quote, Lord's dungeon and agreed to take the Black. Why was he in the Vale? Why would the Lords of Goldtown have a reason to put him in the dungeon? Lord Gerald Grafton was the Lord of Goldtown, and we sadly don't know much about him. I tried to look into Grafton, not much. Some argue that Satin is a spy for Littlefinger due to him being a sex worker and that he came from the Vale. But he was sent up to the north in Clash, and Littlefinger was not in the Vale at that time. And he could still be a spy, I suppose. You know, they talk about how kind of the really big players like Varys and Littlefinger have spies all over the Seven Kingdom. So Satin doesn't have to necessarily, you know, meet Littlefinger to be his spy. But he does, you know, Littlefinger is highly tied to brothels and stuff like that. So there is a possibility there. There's a lot of people also thinking that he might be working for Lyn Corbray because Lyn Corbray, quote, likes boys, and he hangs out in Goldtown. He's from the Vale. So maybe he's a spy for Corbray, who's also working for Littlefinger. So maybe there's something going on there. I'm going to do nothing but maybes. I don't have the answers. I'm just saying these are some ideas of what's going on with Satin, because he says he's from Old Town, but he's found in Goldtown. Maybe it was a typo and he was meant to say Goldtown, but I don't think so. I don't think that George is going to make that kind of a mistake. But I guess like I just said, he has holes in his story. He's literate and says "my lord" instead of "my lord." All this seems off for someone who grew up in a brothel. So yeah, right. So he's literate, which is why he Jon wants him to be a steward, right? But also, he's literate and he speaks properly. And I know you're going to go, my lord, who cares? They specifically in the books bring that up as like, hey, this is a hint to who is pretending to be lowborn and who's lowborn, right? It's something straight up said. My lord, my lord. And George wants us to pay attention to that. At least I think George wants us to pay attention to that. I don't know what George wants. Yeah, and he takes the black under the old gods, not the new gods, and it is said that he worships the seven. Why do this? Is it just to get closer to Jon? Why does he go to the Weirwoods to take the black? That's a little odd, right? It's another like kind of inconsistency. So his story just seems like a lot of like, it doesn't add up. Like, what are you hiding here? Yeah, there might be nothing here, and we might be bored, and we just need new books. That's definitely something. But I do think Satin is very interesting, and I want to see him more in the next book. Yeah, Satin is just intriguing because a lot of his story doesn't quite add up, and I want to know what his story, like, what's his deal. And he's a cool character. And I also like this traditionally not masculine guy who's kind of holding his own during Castle Black. I also think that's really cool. So yeah, that Satin character from the main books who never makes it in the TV show. Instead, they have Ollie, but not Satin. So there you guys go. If you've not read the books, here's a cool character for you. And if you have, what do you think is going on with Satin? Tell me in the comments. I would love to read them. There are no wrong answers. And if you have never been here before and you watched the whole thing, awesome. Check the rest of my Song of Ice and Fire stuff out. They'll be popping up on the screen here in a second. And yeah, click like, subscribe, do all that stuff. Thank you for watching. Thank you for spending 20 minutes of your day listening to me ramble about Satin. Have a good one and go join the Night's Watch. Whatever. That's an ending. Bye.